Right, what's going on, everybody? We are live.
Oh, we are live.
Live from the compound, or whatever you want to call it.
From an undisclosed location.
That's right. We're in the bunker. The apocalypse has happened.
Yeah.
This is not a drill. Is this working right? What's going on here? All right, you guys keep talking, and I'll figure out what's going on with this.
We're in the undisclosed location, so not only am I one of the last people on Earth, I'm also the last black guy on Earth.
Oh, no.
So I'm
That's
the only
right.
one of my kind.
I love your last black guy on Earth joke from your act.
Oh, yeah, that's
That
hilarious.
is hilarious.
That's like, I feel like I hate that joke now because I can't top it. Like, I haven't written anything in like the last, like, I wrote that like a month and a half ago, and I haven't written anything since. It's like, I even want to tell on stage because, like, it's not as good. It's not as good.
We're not getting audio in the Ustream for some reason. Let me try and turn that up.
This is horse shit, you stream.
Okay, no, it's working now. It was just turned down. Wait, you talk.
Oh my god, relief.
Me
What
talk?
relief.
Yeah, okay, good. We're
Check.
working
Good.
out. Perfect.
All right.
I thought we were going to have to reset
I
it.
thought I was gonna have to yell at you stream.
Cool. All right. Well,
Right
we're
on.
here with Shawn Murray. If you guys are wondering who this crazy guy is,
It's me.
Shawn, what's up?
You guys knew who it was. I'm so famous.
he is
On the
famous.
internet.
You should have saw the people outside asking for his autograph. It was crazy.
With my 500 followers on Twitter, I'm so famous.
Ooh, I wish I had those numbers.
It's always so funny when I say something like that, and like I'm saying like it's only a little bit, and then people are like, no, I have like 45 followers. I feel like a dick.
Yeah. I think I'm somewhere around 300 or 400. I don't know.
I'm trying to crack the 150 number. I've gotten up to 149, and then it just usually falls.
When did you join Twitter?
I joined. I mean, I don't really think that I could call it joining. I mean, I created a page that I rarely go on, probably about a year ago.
That's the problem. I remember when I don't have that many followers, but I remember in like I think Twitter came out in 2008, 2009, or at least it became this version of Twitter in 2008, 2009. I joined in like 2010, and
I
like
think that's when I joined.
2009, 2010 was the last year where people were just following. Like you really have to be the like people have to like before. I remember like 2009. You would just tweet one tweet and somebody would say, "This is a great tweet," and they just follow you, like,
Yeah.
well, based on one tweet, no sampling of like whether you, and then like you end up unfollowing a lot of people, like, oh, this guy actually sucks. This is just like an anomaly. But I think because of that, in later years, like people were like, hey, I'm not gonna just follow anybody. Like, you really have to impress people to get a follow. Like, but back then it was just like, whatever, any website too. Like, whenever it's the start of something, people just want to be a part of it, so they're so quick to like just join in.
Oh,
but
yeah, and they want to do. Oh, we got to follow people because that's what you do. We got to retweet.
Yeah,
That's
well,
what you do.
that was like what happened. I was at Central College when Facebook hit, and everybody was just friending everybody because it was just like, oh, this person goes to my school, and I saw them in the hall once.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, it's like everyone
Friend.
gets to be a part of the cool thing.
Yeah,
but
exactly.
as soon as like about a few months in, a couple years in, it's like, okay, I know what I like on this site. It's like I think I've seen enough of everyone. Like, I think I know what I like. I'm not going. I don't like this guy. I like one tweet from him, but I'm not gonna follow him.
Yeah, that's exactly.
I'm not
what
gonna
it is.
favorite this tweet, even though I should, because it's a great tweet. I'll just read.
Yeah, and it doesn't take any real effort at all either. It's like the click of a button, but it's like so hard to do.
The funny
Because
thing
you feel like it's everything.
Lately, I've been trying to spread a lot of positive vibes, and especially if I am not totally sober. So I'll go through Twitter at night, and I'll be like, wow, that was amazing, like what you said, and I'll just say all this great stuff. It's crazy. And I've also gotten into the habit, if I see a famous person or semi-famous person I know is on Twitter and I like something, I'll just tweet them. So I even tweeted Taylor Swift the other day because the SNL thing that she did, the SNL 40, I don't know if you saw that.
Yeah.
And she did the California people thing, and while I was watching her, I was like, wow, I always used to think she was fake. But she's either super stupid and doesn't realize what she's doing, which probably isn't the case, or she's a normal person that's just super famous and is making fun of these people too. You know, like she's not a fake person. So I was like, oh, I'm so happy, and I tweeted her. I was like, what are you doing? tweeting Taylor Swift? What's wrong with you?
Yeah, I remember like in my early days of Twitter, whenever I get like even it could be like a D-list celebrity. If I get a tweet back from them, it would be the best.
Oh,
Even if they just like, and now a lot of celebrities most celebrities won't even respond or look at your tweet because they get so many. But like maybe like a B-level rapper or something, they'll like favorite it or like respond to you. Is always pretty cool. Even though like it doesn't matter, but it's like
I had Patton Oswalt retweet one of my tweets that I did about Chappelle when he had the thing in Hartford, the whole debacle.
Yeah.
And it was like the craziest thing ever. I was like showing everybody, sending them pictures, like Patton Oswalt retweeted me. Like the power he has. It was crazy, but yeah.
That is that's awesome.
Yeah.
Patton's that's pretty good.
Yeah, that's pretty
That's
impressive
good.
because I've followed so many like LA comedians based off Patton Oswalt. Sometimes he'll just retweet 3 different tweets from somebody in a row, and I'm like, okay, this is a good sampling. Like, this person's really funny. I'll just follow him. So that could have got you a lot of followers.
Yeah, yeah.
Because he's got a lot of power on Twitter.
I got a good amount of followers after that, and a lot of retweets and people asking me about what happened. It was pretty cool. It was a good interaction, definitely. But I try to do that a lot with. I find like a lot of people in the Rogan circle will do it, and he has people on that are sometimes famous, sometimes not. Like there's this one coffee expert he had on, and then I started tweeting him. He was tweeting me back, telling me what to do, all this stuff. It was pretty cool.
Coolest thing that ever happened to me on Twitter. It's not even a famous guy, but I went to this sushi restaurant in New Haven, and I was in there. It's first time in there, and I'm just like browsing the menu, and then this guy's at a table, and he just looks over, and he's like, "You ever eat here before?" Like, no. He was like, try this, or this. And he's like, you know what? I'll cover it. He said, get him this, and this. I was like, okay, this sounds cool. And then he's like, he just gets up and leaves with his friends. He's like, all right, see you around, man. I hope you enjoy. And then he leaves, and I was like, so some guy comes in, and he was like, I was like, was that the owner? He's like, yeah, that was the owner. And I was like, and then like, so I tweeted, I was like, oh my god, like this fucking the owner at Maya Sushi like just offered me a bunch of free shit, and he tweeted back like, oh, glad you enjoyed it. Come back another time. I'll bring a friend. I'll do it again. I was like, this guy is awesome.
That was Mia's in New Haven.
Yeah.
Wow. I ate there once. It was the best sushi.
It's
that
so
I had.
good.
I purposely I just went and was like, I don't care how much money I'm going to spend. I bought 5 rolls. They were each $20 rolls, but I wanted to try all of them, so I spent $100.
No,
but
yeah.
it was like
it was worth it though.
Every roll had like 20 ingredients in it.
Oh,
No, it's
wow.
it's
Like-
incredible. Like it is expensive, but if you like their menu is like a book. Like there's like a
Yeah.
story in it about how he like his mom or his
Yeah.
grandmother started a restaurant, and like they only use like non-invasive species, or like they use invasive species to kill them off, and like they won't use like certain types of fish that are overfished and stuff. And it's like
Oh yeah, that's great because the tuna is getting
yeah, he won't. They don't serve. They don't. They
destroyed.
don't serve tuna at all. And they use like odd types of like fish and like strange stuff, but it's always really good.
Mm-hmm.
That place is great.
I gotta check it
It's
out.
costly, but it's like
Yeah.
you can accept the cost because not only does it taste good, but also the what's behind it. Like there's a lot of like those like hipstery kind of like, oh, this is organic, but like it that doesn't explain why this costs so much.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
yeah.
that
But
place
when you
is
hear
really
the
worth it.
story about that, yeah, then
Yeah.
you know, that's awesome.
I just remember the amount of ingredients like in those expensive rolls. Like I never saw that many ingredients in one roll before. It's great.
Yeah, he
Mia's.
packs it full of everything. and it sounds like a bad. Usually, it's like, oh, you're just throwing everything in, but he was like, I spent years trying to perfect this recipe.
That's so
a
awesome.
lot of them turned out garbage.
Oh really?
Yeah,
Oh, shit.
Wow, that's crazy. He's probably changing all the time too, evolving.
yeah. He says he's always changing it up.
Yeah, that's cool when you meet someone that's like a master in their thing, even a master comedian, and they're always working. Like Louis does a new hour every year, kind of thing, you know.
Yeah.
And then people that are master chefs like that just keep perfecting it. It's so great.
That's how you get. Like that's what I'm trying to do in my stand up lately. Is trying to be way more studious about it. Like just looking at jokes kind of with a little bit more like an academic eye, and like analyzing and breaking it down to understand what's funny about it, why, and like sequencing my set a certain way so it flows better. Just like just to make me a little bit better, because that's how you get great. It's like everybody thinks like LeBron James is naturally talented, but like if you look at his career, like he got better because you have to work at it. Like I mean, you can't just like you're gonna get to a certain point just off talent. But it's like talent fails when hard work. Blah blah blah. I don't know the quote off him. But, you know what I'm
No, I
saying?
know
Like,
what you're saying. Yeah.
hard work. You have to work hard.
Yeah,
Like,
you got to have both. There was one of the Celtics. Oh man, one of the Celtics like in the Larry Bird era. I forget who it was, but I was listening to this person talking. It was the same thing as about perseverance, and he wasn't that good at basketball, but he just picked up a basketball and dribbled every day of his life. Like his parents went on a cruise, and the whole cruise he was down in the lower decks going up and down, dribbling, just making himself and working it. And eventually he got into the NBA. I think it might have been Bill Russell, maybe one of those guys. Yeah, it was one of the
There's so many dudes like that. I can't think of any of him, but like I hear a lot of stories like NBA, NFL players, or like a lot of times with athletes, it's like I was never the best. Even with some comedians, like I hear like Bill Burr say, when he was in Boston coming up, he was like I was far from the best. I just tried to work as hard as possible because like the funniest guy is not always gonna be the best comedian.
Yeah,
I mean, like I know kids like from my high school that are like 10 times funnier, but like they would never. Not only would they never even. They wouldn't be good comedians. They wouldn't even try to be comedians because it doesn't mean anything to them. Or they wouldn't be able to work to, because
you really got to sacrifice a lot. So yeah,
it's like because that first time you have a bad, a lot of times it's the first time you're on stage, like you have that bad experience on stage. It's like I don't want to do this, and it's like if you really want to be a comedian, you're gonna say I can keep doing this. But if you don't want to, you're like, hey, I don't need to do this. I could just be the funny guy in the office, and that works for me.
Exactly. There's no risk there either.
Yeah,
for that,
It's like there's so many people who wouldn't even be able to translate it, like because they wouldn't work at it. They just be like you see so many dudes come to the mic and like they're the funniest guy to their friends, and they go on stage and it's like they don't understand why everyone's not laughing. It's like it's sad, but it's so funny as somebody who's gotten a little bit of laughs on stage. It's like, all right, I see what's happening here.
It's funny because people never think that. They always think that, well, if you're funny, with your friends, then that's going to automatically translate to being funny on stage.
Yeah,
but it's like it doesn't, and people just never.
Especially a lot of times they're trying to tell stories that they think are funny, and on stage it's different. You got to get to punch it up. You got to punch it up.
Yeah.
The stories are almost always the worst part because all your friends, because the new guys always bring all their friends to the mic, and it's like their friends are gonna laugh a little. Like that's the worst when their friends don't even stop laughing. It's like because that story's only funny to you guys. Most stories are only funny to the people who experience it. Like the best stories, whether it's from a comedian or your uncle or your dad or whoever, it's because they embellish a lot of that stuff. Like you take off the parts that don't matter, and you heighten the parts that are funny or cool or whatever. And it's like it may not be that much, but you have to tweak it so it's more presentable. You don't want like if you're like, oh, if you tell us about you went to Florida, I don't need to hear the part about I got on the flight and then I sat there, I watched Sports Center on the plane. Like no, get to the part where you're in Florida and drinking and having fun.
Exactly. And another thing I think that people don't realize is when you're telling your friends a story, your friends know you and they know who you are, they know your life story, so they're more invested. But when you're telling a room full of strangers that doesn't give a fuck,
why do I
that
care
can
about
look
this?
on Facebook, that wants to Instagram something, that this girl I might want to bang her later, you know what I mean? Like you're out of it. You got to keep them here, right here. So
the reason those people are your friends is because they thought you were funny from the jump.
Yeah.
So like they gravitated towards you, but like everyone didn't do that. So you have to find a way to make to include everyone in that.
Yeah, you really do.
Yeah, there's definitely people out there who lose sight of the fact that we're up there to be comics. We're not up there under oath,
Yeah.
So, like, how do you feel about that? Like, people who are like, oh, there's this rule, like, you're doing stand-up, you have to tell the truth.
Well, I was a little bit in that camp when I first started.
I feel like everybody kind of is.
But yeah, absolutely.
I was too.
But the thing is, okay, I'm not gonna say names, but I know I know a couple comics where it's like you're being too honest. It's like everyone thinks like, because everyone's kind of doing style in the Richard Pryor vein of like being very honest and like a little dark and just overly honest. But that guy's one of the funniest people to ever live, and like even he probably cut out and embellished in his stories. It's like you gotta, because you have to remember, like, just because it really happened that way, it doesn't make it the best story. Yeah. And it doesn't make it the funniest. But like the funniest part of your story might not be the funniest part of the joke, because like there's so many things like you had to be there. Like you had to be there. Don't work on stage. Like,
not at all.
It's not gonna cut it.
No.
Like I wasn't there, so tell me why I should laugh at this, sir.
Yeah, or tell me why you should divert my attention somewhere else. You know. So yeah. Yeah,
it's I'm totally that's it, unless you can. No, it's not gonna work. It's not gonna work.
Yeah.
Like even the joke you were talking about, the last guy on Earth, that didn't happen at all.
Yeah.
Not at all. I was sitting at home. I was like, what would be a funny thing to respond to if someone said, "I wouldn't sleep with you if you're last one on Earth"? That's how I came up with that joke. It wasn't like that didn't happen at all, but it doesn't matter because
it got you to where it needed to get you.
Yeah, and like I mean, people aren't gonna boycott your comedy because that wasn't a true story. Like, well, who gives a fuck? Well, you laughed really hard at this.
I think even if the scenario is made up, but the way you handle with it, you're being yourself. the way you deal with whatever scenario you create, but you deal with it. Deal with it as Shawn Murray.
Well, absolutely.
So then you're being honest to yourself. It doesn't
And
matter.
that's the key. Is you got to be
Exactly.
true to yourself, because so many times people go too far left with it, where they try to come up with a completely contrived and obviously fictional scenario. And it's like, not only is this clearly a fake scenario, you wouldn't have said this. And like,
even in your fake scenario,
this is
you're
what
not that
James Bond
smooth.
would have done in this situation, not you fucking loser college kid. You wouldn't have said that to this girl.
Loser college.
Like, then I said to her,
Poor
baby,
kid.
baby, let's fuck. And she totally did. Like, no, you didn't do that.
Yeah.
She
No, you
said
both
no,
got
and then you went
hammered,
on
and she got more hammered.
yeah. And it was kind of rapey, but you didn't want to bring that part up, so you fucking told her.
You knew she wanted
She's
it.
on my dick from the jump, bros. She was like, shut up, you idiot. You suck.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, just to talk about more, bring up the fact that you said, I lost my train of thought.
Oh, yeah.
If we
Pick it up from here, Brandon.
I have something actually I want to talk about. That is that you have your own podcast, and you should talk about that because I recorded 2 episodes of it, and it was a fucking hilarious time, and people need to know about it. So first of all, tell them the podcast, the name, and everything.
Oh, it's called Good for Nothing. It's me and a few other comedians, Kevin Fitzgerald and Dan Rice, co-host with me. Sometimes this comedian Pat Oates, who runs Joker's Wild, will stop in. We always have a bunch of characters pop in. It's kind of I want to it's kind of a ripoff of Comedy Bang Bang in a way, but it's just our take on it. I guess I wouldn't say it's a ripoff of Comedy Bang Bang only because there's a lot of podcasts where people just shoot the shit, but it kind of in terms of the character work and stuff, it's it's influenced by that at least. But it's just we're just shooting the shit, and then a character pops in, and we kind of see what does this odd person have to offer to us, and we just kind of, it's always a fun time, and we're kind of I think we're getting further away from the Comedy Bang Bang influence. Like the first 2 episodes, I feel like I was just channeling Scott Aukerman, but now it feels like I'm just trying to being more myself. I'm speaking in my own voice.
That's awesome. I think that's how you get better. Because I remember when we did the first ones, they were kind of awkward, and now we do them, and I listen to them like, wow, and people said it to me too, like they're getting better. They're like, keep doing, keep going,
less
man.
awkward now,
guys. You don't look so gay on the camera anymore. You look like you could think about women once in a while.
No, that's so true because I've done a few podcasts now. I used to do one with Dame FK. I did a couple with them, and the first podcast we did together, it was god awful. It was because there would be so much dead air, and we were trying to be podcast hosts instead of just being us on a podcast. We were well, welcome here to doing the fucking top Z100 radio voice. It's like, no, this doesn't even fit the type of podcast this is. Why are we doing this? So as the episodes went on, there was less dead air. We were a little bit more. We were channeling our actual rapport instead of trying to fake a rapport. It was So I think it's a really fun podcast. Last week was we were all saying it that might have been the worst one last week, but actually I listened to it. It's probably one of my favorite ones.
Yeah, I was crying laughing, man.
Me and Pat got into this argument.
Yeah, that's what I wanted to bring up. That was so funny.
Me and Pat got into an argument.
I just want to say I've known Shawn Murray for a while. I've never seen him lose his cool, and I don't think anyone that I know has. So that's
I was so embarrassed by losing my cool because when I was I'd say 14 and under, I had an incredible temper problem. It was bad. I would just lose my shit all the time. And I don't know if it was something I kind of worked on, but it was kind of just I grew out of it, I guess. And
you see things, man. It changed your whole perspective.
Yeah, it's it was strange to see that come out of me. But I was listening to the podcast. I wasn't even as mad as I could have been. It was so essentially we were arguing about Pat's telling me that Tron, the movie Tron, has better special effects than Ghostbusters, and he's like, but I remember when I was a kid, I was like, but have you seen it since you were a kid? And he's like, no, I just and then he's not answering my question. He's like, no, I remember when I was a kid, it had better. I was like, but have you seen it since then? I was like, a 4-year-old can't tell me what special effects are good because you don't know shit. You might have liked Tron better. I was like, and then so we get an argument.
Yeah, well, Pat said the thing that's really I noticed that set him off is Pat said, well, you weren't a kid, you weren't around. You weren't even born when those movies came out. Like that has nothing to do with it.
Yeah, what is that? Like I've seen.
I was totally on his side because it doesn't matter if you were alive.
Yeah. I wasn't alive when Citizen Kane came out. I can tell you that's a good movie. Like it doesn't matter how old I was when the movie. Like,
Pat was telling the graphics in Tron were way better.
And it's like what was pissing me off mostly was that he wasn't answering my question. And Pat always does this thing when he would talk over someone, and then he would tell me I was talking over him. I was like, Pat, you talk over someone every time you speak. You're always like, so it was like, but I listened to it. And I was like, I thought I was a lot angrier than I was. Pretty angry, but I thought I was like fuming, like throwing shit. Like, a little less.
I think in the moment it seemed, because even in the moment it seemed more than when I went back.
Yeah, and I felt like it lasted longer in my memery than it actually
me
did
too.
It was about 45 seconds, but in my head it was like 5 straight minutes.
Yeah,
I was just like,
oh, it was great. And before this happened, he brought up Ghostbusters, and they were kind of shitting on it, and they were saying it was a shitty movie. And I was kind of disagreeing, and I didn't feel like everyone was feeling that way. And Stash Makita was in the corner and brought like a note over, like, I'm getting so angry right now. And then that's when they started talking about it. So they were already shitting on it, and then Pat just continued to shit on Ghostbusters. I feel like a lot of people,
I don't say a lot of people, but
he said like he's not going to fuck Slimer or something. Or whatever. If you're listening to this right now, you guys got to check it out. You can actually get that podcast on comedylol.com. It's in the same stream. I just put it in with ours now.
Yeah.
So.
Nice.
Good, it's called Good for Nothing.
I think a lot of people like say Ghostbusters isn't the funniest comedy, and that's always their criticism of it. But it's like, if you look at most good comedy, most comedies aren't good movies. You know what I'm saying? It
was a good movie that was funny.
Yeah, that was the thing. It was like, that's why I love Edgar Wright's movies so much, because he keeps the humor is there in abundance, but he never loses sight of the structure of the movie. Like, it's still a good plot, it's still interesting characters, it's still a great setting, it's still great directing, but it's also a really funny movie. I feel like a lot of movies, especially in the post Anchorman world, are just like, we're gonna just go straight laughs and not be a good movie. And it's like, that's fine, because I love Anchorman, is one of my favorite movies. And like, but I think all the really, really top tier comedies, other than like maybe like Airplane or something, like it's just like a joke fest. A lot of the best comedies find a way to balance the laughs with the movie structure. And that's my thing with Ghostbusters. People think it's not as
it's not a
funny.
silly movie.
Yeah, it's not like
it's
balls
not
to the wall.
Airplane,
Just, you know what I mean, a joke per minute, but it's super funny. You can't deny that it's super funny.
Yeah.
And
there's a lot of dry humor too, and I think that's the thing.
It's so subtle. Yeah, it's a lot
really
of subtle.
Yeah.
And it completely holds up, other than special effects, which is like, and the special effects aren't bad, but it's like, it's obviously not, like Avengers.
That's where we were in the conversation. He goes, the special effects were that bad, and Pat just jumps in like, what do you mean? They were the worst ones ever. So yeah, it was great.
Like, it's fucking 1985. Like, that was pretty great for 1985. Like, so other than like, I mean, certain parts were like, okay, the special effects aren't great. Yeah. But they were great for then. Yeah. Like, it holds up completely. It's a really funny movie. Yeah.
I mean, I remember seeing, it was either that one or the second one in the theater. That's how old I am. And I remember when Slimer came out and those things, we were kind of like, wow. It was, so at the time, it was really good. It was,
That's
exciting.
what's so funny about how special effects have changed.
Yeah, now it's like,
or just even
blows your mind.
Movies, like, I remember, like, that first movie, the first movie ever was like train pulling into a station, and the people in the audience were afraid that the train was going to hit. Like, they were moving out of the way. It's like, dude, that's so hilarious to me, because now it's like that seems so foreign to me that they would have thought, like, you're sitting in a theater and you think a train, and it's not 3D. It's just like you think a train is coming through the theater and they're going to run you over. But I remember it was watching Gravity in 3D, and I actually felt myself like jerk to the side.
I saw
like,
Gravity.
Like, God damn it! I was like, I'm making fun of these train
people,
these people in the 30s watching train pulling into the station, and I'm fucking dodging.
In 50 years from now, they're gonna be like, they dodged 3D. Remember how cheesy that was? Now you just plug it in your brain.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's crazy.
What do you guys think of the new Ghostbusters reboot? Well, let me just like explain. Like, I don't know much about it. I know they were planning on doing it with all women, and then the recent thing I heard was like Channing Tatum is in it or something. Like, what is even happening?
Well, and then today, even more news is that they're not only going to do the Channing Tatum one, they might do another one with Chris Pratt. They want to do like 4 total movies. They want to make a whole Ghostbusters universe.
Oh, wow.
And here's my thing with Ghostbusters and a lot of shit. Like, we don't need this. Like, they announced Zoolander 2 today, what they've been kicking around for years.
I heard
like,
about that.
I love Zoolander, but it's like, I don't need a Zoolander 2.
Yeah.
I didn't need an Anchorman 2.
Yeah.
I don't need a Step Brothers 2, which they were talking about. I don't need any 2s. Like, I mean,
Dumb and Dumber 2?
There's very few...
Matrix Reloaded?
it's like there's very few movies, sequels that were good, that wasn't a planned franchise or a trilogy or whatever.
Yeah.
Like even the Matrix movies were planned to be a trilogy and they suck. Like the second and third one suck in varying degrees of like suckiness, but the first Matrix is incredible.
It was.
I watched it like last year, like
groundbreaking.
I hadn't seen it in a few. I hadn't seen this when I was like 10. I was like, and I remember just when I was 10, all I remember is bullet time and like just like moving in slow mo and like Neo being super cool. But like I didn't realize that is a perfect movie. Like it's just a great movie.
It's like a piece of artwork, really.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like so many movies. Like you kind of. I mean, you can't take away what I enjoy about the first movie, but like you're ruining the name, The Matrix. You're ruining the name Ghostbusters by making this extra movie. It's just because it's always a money grab. It's never because even if it's like, oh, we want to, at least with the comedies, you just want to keep enjoying these characters and making people laugh. But it's like 9 times out of 10, they don't find a. It's like with a sequel, you say, okay, what did people like about this first movie, or like this character? Like let's ramp it up, to an extreme degree. And it's like, how about you continue put them in a different scenario and explore what makes this character work instead of just saying, oh, in Anchorman 1 there was that big knife fight. Let's just do like 10 times. Like it's just ridiculous.
Yeah. I think another thing too is, especially if you're a very creative person, when a movie like The Matrix ends, it's open ended. So you kind of, I don't know about you guys, but like I would visualize what he might do, and I would sit around sometimes and think about like, wow, or I'd watch it, and then I just imagine what would happen next. And then you go see the movie, and it doesn't even live up to those expectations at all.
Yeah,
you know,
it's
like,
so disappointing
whoa.
to say like, okay.
So they should just let you have your thought, of, lived happily ever after,
when
or whatever.
There's an ambiguous ending or just like an open-ended, it's like the possibilities are endless. But as soon as they say, well, this is what really happened, now you want to say, well, I don't really count Matrix 2. I just think about the Matrix 1 as the real story.
Yeah, it's already ruined it for you. You can't unknow it too. You know, you're like, oh, yeah.
It's like I just think
it wasn't horrible, but you're right. I don't know.
I just think we just don't need them. You know what I mean?
That's a fair way to say. So I'm not complaining that they made them. You're right. They just don't need them.
And like I feel like the all male Ghostbusters they're gonna do with Channing Tatum or whatever just undermines the all female one.
Yeah,
it's
it
like,
kind of does.
It's like, hey, you just announced that it seems like a step forward for like diversity in Hollywood and women.
And then we're gonna shit all over
that.
Like,
oh yeah, but this is just one version of it. We're gonna still keep a lot of men going.
3 out of 4 are gonna be starring men.
This is gonna go right to DVD, but that's okay because the other one's gonna be in the theater.
Like men are still the most important thing.
Yeah.
It's I don't know.
I don't know. I think there's a lot you can get into on why men hold women down. And the recent thing I heard about was like in hunter-gatherer societies, women were dominant and they were kind of in control of the situation. They think not physically dominant, but just in charge. Like the men would go hunt and do whatever they had to and come back and just not be in charge. Just be the strength or whatever.
It's so funny when like sexist dudes I guess to an extent every man is sexist, but super sexist dudes are like, oh, like women just need to realize that like men have been in control since day one. Like there's so much evidence of societies where like women were just running shit and like women were like
and you know what happened? The Bible, Adam and Eve, and it's just like, and ever since then we've been pounding them into that, you know. So I think that's where a lot of that comes from. It's either people knew women were in charge and were mad about it, or maybe something in our DNA, so we just kind of put them down all the time.
It's not natural for women to be. It doesn't occur in nature that women are in control. Like, why are
especially religious people?
And why are lionesses the most fearsome of all the lions? If it's not natural, it's like the same thing when like, people like homosexuality is unnatural. Like, dude. Fucking, it's like monkeys.
Animals, yeah.
So many monkeys, not even like monkeys, just like animals are just
bonobos. That's how they say hi. They have sex, and only I think it's just son to mother doesn't happen, but father to daughter happens, sister to brother, all that in bonobo society. So,
it's like the stuff with like women. It's just like dudes just want to latch on to whatever piece of evidence they have to support that men are supposed to be in control. It's garbage.
And you get a lot of that with the religious people, the Bible people. They want to have. That's where you get like polygamy, which I don't agree with monogamy myself. Maybe we're trying to evolve into it, but that's not where we came from, and that's why we're having all these problems. But I don't agree with polygamy either, where there's one guy and many wives. I'm more of like just kind of everyone loving everybody. That's
Yeah.
But a lot of the religious dudes do that, or the deeper sex. But yeah, can you imagine that, having like 4 wives? Ooh.
That'd probably be really great, because that's the main reason why people cheat, is because someone else is offering what this person's lacking. Or what if this is just your wife that doesn't have sex with you? She just like, keeps your house in order, and this is your wife that fucks you all the time. This is your wife that cooks really well. Well,
that's how kings used to rock it. Did you that show Marco Polo on Netflix?
I didn't see it, but
I thought it was pretty good, and it showed kind of how Kublai Khan, who is Genghis Khan's grandson, how he lived. And there was this one part where this Marco Polo comes in from Italy in this whole story, and he gets stuck in the royal court. So he goes to see him while he's in his sexual whatever, and it's this huge place with all these rooms. So he goes right up to him right away. They take him the shortcut. And then he's like, I will only trust you, Latin, if you don't have sex when you're in here. Then I know I could trust you. And then he leaves, and he's all fucked up because he, like, blew something into his face. He's, like, tripping. And there's the hottest naked girls everywhere making out with each other, banging dudes, like, all this stuff. And he has to walk through it. And after a while, you're just like, how did he do this? All these girls are reaching out to him and grabbing him. And I was just imagine being a king and just having that at your disposal. Like, it would just be insane.
Yeah. I'm not even, like, a dude who's, like, you know what I mean? Like,
but how would you even get anything done? Like,
I'm not even like a super anti-monogamy guy, but I could see it. So much of what's tough about relationships would be eliminated because there's not that expectation. Because it's
if you follow to the end, it's insane. Because there'd be no sexual tension if everyone just kind of had sex with anybody. Yeah, and it was just a known thing. Mm-hmm. Think about all the stuff that eliminates. No jealousy.
It's always. The problem with a lot of these relationships is that it's not explicitly like what works for polygamy, or not even like polyamory. I mean, polyamory. Is that it's agreed upon from the jump that we're just. We're not being beholden to this one relationship.
But you could still be in love with the person.
Yeah, exactly.
And
but it's like
as
long as it's communicated to someone.
Yeah.
People are so much more accepting of whatever it may be, not even just in terms of relationships. It's like if you communicate to them like this is how it's gonna be. Yeah. People are like okay, and like it may not end up working out, but at least they'll go along with it. But if you're just fucking another girl behind your girl's back, it's not gonna work out. It's
not at all.
But like if you told her,
because everyone's getting hurt there.
But if you told her from the jump, hey, I'm not really into monogamy. I'm kind of and she's like she might not agree with it and it might not work out, or she might say I'll give this a shot and it might not work out, or it might work out and she might, you know what I mean? But
yeah, you're right. At least she'll always know that you're honest. And that's the other thing too that I realized, because next year I'm going to be 40, so that's something that I never foresaw. Like, I would hook up with a girl or whatever, date a girl, and then if we broke up, I'm like, I'm never going to see her again. Then 5 years later, 10 years later, 11, 12, 15, 20 years later, you see them again. It's like, wow, it's crazy. I never thought that would happen. I just thought they would kind of go away. I don't know why I thought that, but I'm never going to see them again. We only live in the same town. But so I think the better you can leave it with somebody, it's totally, beneficial for your future.
Yeah, one of my best relationships with a girl was just I had a sort of a relationship with her before, and then it didn't work out, and we hadn't spoken for a while, and then we started fooling around again. We were just basically set up like, hey, this is how it's gonna be, no strings attached, and she ended up being one of a really close friend of mine, because it just like when it dissolved, there was no contention between us. It was just like, all right.
That's how it is.
That's the end of it.
My ex and me that used to live here, and we had the cats together. We were living together, and then it just didn't work out, but. We left so cool. We just instead of having a rough break, we just were like, all right, we're still friends. We're going our separate ways. And she lived in the area for about another year after. We used to share custody of the cats. She would come here, take them for a week. I would have them. And then she moved to Montana. She made this huge life thing, and she moved. Yeah. So she had to come say goodbye. This is off topic. So she had to come say goodbye to the cats, right? And I thought she was coming Monday morning. And Sunday night I had a comedy show. So she calls me right before I leave for the show. She's like, I'm down the street. I'm going to come say goodbye. I'm like, what? So she's here saying goodbye to the cats, crying. Then she leaves, and then I got to go do a comedy show. Oh, man, it was rough. But so I still send her pictures almost every other day of the cats. And when I tell somebody that, they're like, oh, you guys are still in love. You're going to get back together. I'm like, that's no. We know we're friends. We're cool. We both love the cats. That's what it is.
Yeah.
She's obsessed, and I'm obsessed. But people can't think outside of the box. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They can't have a thought that's not, well, that doesn't fit. Like, yeah.
People won't even, their brain won't even accept that because they've been so close to that type of idea for so long that they're like, it doesn't compute. It's like, no, you can't be talking to her without wanting to be with her.
Yeah.
Like, it's not possible. That's how it works.
And she's younger, but probably she's over 10 years younger than me. So I think with her group of peers, it changed a lot. So that's more acceptable. But where my group of peers are all, they're like, oh, you're still this and that. And, after, like, if she was seeing some other guy afterwards, like, oh, you were, I'm like, I don't even know. I'm happy for her. Like, I hope she finds someone that, you know what I mean? Like, and they think that I'm just saying that. I'm like, no, I'm serious. Like, why do I care?
Yeah, the girl I was talking about, I'm always, like, we'll always be talking about, like, what's going on with our relationships. Where it's like, it's never like, oh, I wish this guy, they don't talk to me about this guy. It's like, I don't care. Like, I hope everything's working out. Yeah,
and genuine, and it feels, because I've had breakups where it was bad or there's animosity, and it's not like a thing I look back. I mean, it's still kind of sad because we had to go our separate ways, but I'm more happy now that I met her, and I think I'm a better person because of her than the time I spent with her. So it's amazing that I was lucky enough to have that experience. That's how I look at it. I don't look at it like, oh, fuck that bitch, like, I don't know.
Yeah.
Well, kind of. No, I'm just kidding. No.
Come on.
That fucking
when you really start thinking about her, some of the other stuff is coming up. Some of the stuff you didn't like about her so much is starting to seep in.
I can't believe the way she would breathe. How dare her?
Like, that's what he's just saying for the podcast, but like the extended, he's got a version of the Ustream thing. Like, if you pay for the, behind the paywall, this is the real version.
If you guys want to see my real thoughts, go to
log on to ustream.com/ I hate Becky.
I did have a thought, like when you were talking about Marco Polo and Netflix. What do you guys think of the new Wet Hot American Summer seasons coming out on Netflix?
Well, that's another thing. I'm so excited for it.
I'm excited for it too.
I don't need it. And
how do you feel about how they did Arrested Development?
Okay, here's what. That's great.
Because what they did with Arrested Development, they're trying to do with Wet Hot American Summer. Except it's a movie versus a TV show, but they're still trying to replicate it with all the original characters. And I don't think a lot of people really responded as well as they thought they would to Arrested Development.
I really appreciated what they tried to do with Arrested Development. Like, I thought it was a really clever way to.
Did you like the episodes?
I liked a good bit of them, but they weren't. It wasn't the same for sure. Yeah. And the problem is, I like the idea of to adjust for everyone's schedules. The way he did the episodes was like he'd do, a full Michael episode. So that way, if he couldn't get George Michael and Lucille,
that's right. Yeah, I forgot about that.
The problem is, if you can't do it your way, it's a great way to adapt to the situation. But the appeal of Arrested Development was always the ensemble cast. You know what I mean? So the best moments. I mean, there were some, like, I remember the first Tobias episode of the that was the first episode. I was like, I really love this. Like, I'm back in on Arrested Development because the first few episodes, like, some jokes here, and it's like it was really interesting how he built it up because Arrested Development was always known for like the jokes that came full circle and like But it would seem like an overload in the fourth season where it was like, this is. Like, you would be like Michael, like if I'm Michael, I'm talking to George Michael, and then like you hear somebody yelling in the background, and then 3 episodes later, you're like, oh, that was Lucille talking to Oscar, you know what I mean? And
it was like that. That was enough to just completely make it not feel like how it originally was.
It was because you could tell like they didn't shoot those in the same room. It was just like they just did the ADR for that, and then they piece it together. But it was a really cool way to do it, but it just didn't work as well as it could have. You definitely would have preferred if they could have just done it in the traditional, like, everyone's here on set and we just do it this way. But I thought it was good. But same thing with Wet Hot American Summer. It was just the culture of, like, people want people need to be fed. People's desires need to be fed, but they don't realize that like sometimes you just need to leave it. Like a lot of the shows that got canceled early, it's like it lives on. The legacy of it is better. Like the legacy of Firefly is stronger because it ended in one season than if it would have, because it probably wouldn't have kept up that it could have, but you can always imagine that it was going to be great for 10 seasons. If it ended at one season, it was really good.
Yeah.
Instead of
like getting weak or
if it had 10 seasons, it might not have held up that. So then now it's the same thing with the
like the Kroll show.
Yeah, it's like same thing with sequels. It's like
if
at the end of the first Matrix, it's like okay, Neo could have done anything after this, but now we have Matrix 2. This is the official story. And same thing with a sequel to a Firefly or whatever. It's like if we end up one season, anything is possible. But if we have 5 more seasons, this is the official. This is what happened. You can't imagine that anymore.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
So it's like I'm always just fine with like with How American Summer. The movie was, I love that movie, and it was just that. But I can't like kill off David Wayne and tell him stop him from
what are you gonna do, right?
Yeah.
Now they're doing it like seasons now, right? It's gonna be like a TV show.
I believe so.
Yeah, I think that's an interesting choice because why wouldn't they just make a movie?
Yeah.
And release the movie.
And then I was seeing like everyone who's going to be in it. Like there was so many like guest stars, and it's like that's another thing.
Yeah, I saw.
Another problem with the culture now of TV is like everything's like you gotta have guest stars. You gotta have. It's like I didn't watch this movie because of the guest stars or like the cameos or whatever. I watched it because I mean it's a funny movie. Like everything it's gotta have, and like even Parks and Rec. I love Parks and Rec. Every show is just like it's always got to be special guests. It's like I don't care. Like just I don't know. And I think Parks and Rec always did it the best in terms of like 30 Rock was really good at it too. It's just like
30 Rock
including them into the plot and like making it matter. Like if Michelle Obama's in this episode, it's because you know what I mean. They had to go to the White House to get a bill passed instead of it just being like Michelle Obama's here. What? She's just playing basketball. Like no, that doesn't make any sense.
I think.
Why is Michelle Obama just eating cake in Pawnee? Like that doesn't make any sense.
What do you think?
Like in old shows, there would just be a long applause break.
Yeah,
like, fake audience usually.
Exactly. Like Scooby Doo, they always have that. Oh man.
Bob Burgers does it great too.
Yeah, Bob Burgers does.
I never got into Bob's Burgers. No. I don't know. Am I missing out? Everybody says they love it.
You didn't get
it
because you didn't watch it, or you just didn't like it.
I never even tried to watch it.
No, it's so fun. It's like it's so consistent and funny, and the voice cast.
Doesn't Eugene Merman do it?
Yeah, it's
Kristen Shaw.
Eugene
she's
hilarious.
H. John Benjamin.
Oh yeah, of course.
It's Paul F. Tompkins done a bunch of episodes. Jim Gaffigan's done some. Aziz has done some. That and Archer they do really well with the voice cast is great, and it's just like two of the best.
Did you ever see Home Movies?
Yeah,
that was great.
Yeah, H. John Benjamin is just incredible.
Yeah, he really is.
Yeah, Bob Burgers is great. It's really great.
You ever see Venture Brothers?
I haven't.
Oh man,
I've seen a couple episodes, but I have never watched it through. Cause people always tell me like, "Oh, you watch Archer? You should watch Venture Brothers."
Yeah. Venture Brothers is great, and Patrick Warburton does the voice. The same guy does the voice of Joe in South Park. I mean, I'm sorry, Family Guy. I screwed that one up. But I think he's
Putty.
A really good voice actor.
Putty.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. But when he does a character that he does in Venture Brothers, Brock Sampson, he's like this total badass. He's a bodyguard and he kills everybody, but like without guns. But he's just so over the top. But he does a really good job.
I was gonna say that made me think of like a sequel or like a second coming of a reincarnation of something that I loved that I felt like they did right was when Larry David tackled Seinfeld in Curb
That
Your
was great.
Enthusiasm.
Yeah,
I thought that doing it in that way made it seem like Seinfeld was back, but it was like they didn't actually give us more than like just a little taste. But it was perfect.
That was such a brilliant way to do it because it wasn't a full out Seinfeld reunion.
Yeah, exactly.
It kind of like the expectations were lower in a way because it wasn't like Seinfeld's back. It's like Seinfeld's back on this show, and it's like I don't know, he handled it in such a way that was cool because it's like instead of just doing episodes of Seinfeld, it's like doing the lead up to the Seinfeld reunion within that world. It's so good.
And everybody loves, the actors who play the characters that just, kind of showcasing them. It was like you got a little bit of everything.
It wouldn't have worked with so many other shows because all of those you become so attached to them, Julia Louis-Dreyfus and you know Seinfeld, of course, and Jason Alexander. It's like you know these people so well since Seinfeld that it's like doing the behind the scenes stuff works, but like so many other shows that wouldn't have worked the same way because you don't know the people off screen as well.
Yeah, true.
And speaking of Curb, I think Curb is I think it's because it's on HBO. It's the most underrated comedy of its time. Like
so good.
Curb, it was from start to finish. It's one of the best comedies of all time. And it's like I think it's just because no one has HBO. It's so it's so good.
Can I admit something to you guys? I've never seen it.
No,
you should just.
Yeah, I know. It's one of those things where massive ADD. It's like I'm like I gotta watch it. And then oh look, there's a butterfly, and then all of a sudden I'm like,
I'm the same with Bob's Burgers. I feel like everybody
there's too much. There's too much TV.
Yeah, there really is. I just got into Kroll Show, and I just binge watch it, and that's what I was gonna bring up because they're ending it after the third season.
It's a smart decision.
What is fucking. It's
bold.
It's brilliant
so
and bold.
Nobody's ever done that.
I've heard him on two different podcasts talk about it on a Nerdist podcast, and I heard him on Duncan Trussell's podcast, and they both were like, "Wow, I can't believe you're doing it," but they respected him so much.
It's a bold move. But I was talking to another comedian, Matt Wally, about how TV's become such a chore now. Like, he's like, because he hadn't watched The Wire yet, and I was telling him you had to watch The Wire, and he's like, he'd be at home with his girlfriend, he'd be like, oh, we're gonna watch The Wire today. He's like, and I love it. He's like, but it's just like, he felt like I have to do this.
Yeah, that's
to
really
be
what
a
it
part
feels
of
like.
The culture.
Yeah.
It's everything is like I'm always telling people watch Mad Men, watch Breaking Bad, and it's like or people like telling me watch what am I watching now? I don't know. I can't think what I'm watching because there's too much stuff I'm watching.
Yeah.
But it's always just like you gotta watch this show, and it's like okay, I'm gonna watch this, but it seems like it's homework. It really does. It's always enjoyable. But it's like it just seems like I'm doing this because not because I want to watch a show. It's because I want to be able to have this conversation about this show.
Yeah, that's how it was with The League. Like he harassed me and finally started, and I watched it, and I was just like, "Oh my god, I love this!"
So good. Yeah. David Schaefer, one of the guys who wrote for Seinfeld, is the guy who like does The League.
Oh, okay.
Him and his wife, Wendy Schaefer. I don't know, something like that. But they're so it's like it is very Seinfeld-esque.
Yeah.
You know, League is great.
I like how things don't work out. That's so great. And Seinfeld too. Like
that's
nothing
what's so great
ever
about
works
Curb.
Out. Yeah.
Is that like, first of all, anyone, especially a comedian, can relate to Larry David so well. Just being like it's just him, similar to Seinfeld, just like tackling social norms and like the inane nature of so much things we do, like saying bless you after someone sneezes. Like, we don't have to do this. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I'm not going to say bless you to you. And like, people are like, man, like Larry didn't say bless you to me. It's like, we know bless you doesn't matter. Like, it's like, you're not going to get any, like, it's like, yeah, that's what's so great about it. It's like, the way he structures his episodes, like, it just never works out for him at the end. Like, he just always does a perfect circle of like something he did that was just you know what I mean, non-consequential. It ends up being inconsequential. Ends up being like
effect.
It ends up being like it bites him in the ass at the end of the episode. It's you gotta watch Curb. It's so good.
All right.
Curb.
That's your homework assignment.
There we go. All right.
What do you guys think of Better Call Saul?
Love it.
I haven't really gotten into it. I don't know. I feel like it's just like them trying, and I know there is a real genuine story to it, but I feel like a lot of it is just them trying to cash in on the Breaking Bad thing.
I love Bob Odenkirk is so funny, and I had utmost faith in Vince Gilligan after Breaking Bad. Yeah. But initially I had some trepidation, and I was hesitant to like, oh, is this gonna be good? And the first trailer came out, I was like, this doesn't look. They didn't show much. I was like, oh, this doesn't look funny. Like, that's what I want for Bob Odenkirk, is to be funny. But I think if it is a cash grab, it's one of the it's one of the best cash grabs. It's like I think that guy understands characters so well. It's like most of the times prequels suck because like I don't care what happened to this guy before he was this guy, but it works better when it's an ancillary character who's so strong, like Saul. Like if it was like a Breaking Bad prequel about Walt when he was at Gray Matter, it's like this doesn't matter. Who cares? Like I know everything that happened to him, and I know why. The story told within Breaking Bad tells me enough about what happened back then that I don't need to see it happening. But you don't learn that much about Saul in Breaking Bad like you start to learn more like in like season 5, but it's like
yeah.
and it's just a great character. Like there's so many movies where they try to spin off or shows which and like this character isn't that really that interesting in the first place. It's just because the fanfare and the critical praise for the show was so high that we can
they
get
got to
away with
do
anything.
it. It's like obligatory for the studio. You know, they got to whatever it is.
Yeah, because the great thing about it is that like it's not just jumping into like, well, you see Walt walking in the background, like, oh, what's he like? It's like it really finds a way to just tell an interesting story about a guy. It's like, oh, it's not like every third line is like Jesse, Tuco, Gus. It's like no, it's like all these. It's just it's a separate story, but it's leading up to it, and I think I love it. I love it. I think it's really great.
Okay, cool.
I think I'm talking too much. I feel like I'm just yapping.
No, it's great.
No.
I haven't even seen the show. Now that you said all that,
I
I'm like,
honestly
I
haven't
want to watch
actually. Like I've watched like bits and pieces of like the first couple episodes, but I they're probably like up to like episode 5 or 6 at this point. I haven't seen many.
No, if you, I think you would enjoy it. Like I said, the first episode I was like, I'm super excited for this. I want it to be great, but I don't know if it can be great because just the nature of spinoffs, and I got the same thing with my sequel things. Like, why can't we just leave it at this? Why can't it just be this? But when it's done well, it's done well, and that guy.
Especially if it's a prequel, because it doesn't really ruin your future vision of what was going to happen.
Yeah, exactly. As with a sequel, it's like, oh, now this guy ends up being this lame story, but like it's like, yeah.
It looks like we have probably about 10 minutes left, so I just want to talk Avengers, because I know you're very excited about it. I want to bring it up now before there's no time.
I was always saying since the first Avengers came out, like I only have to live until May 1st. Like I just want to stay alive long enough for May 1st. And then somebody was like, "What about Avengers 2?" Like, oh goddamn!
Oh no, I got to survive 2012.
Yeah, and
the
then
apocalypse.
Somebody was saying that I had remembered that Kevin Feige, the head producer at Marvel Studios. He said he has the Marvel Cinematic Universe planned out to 2035. I was like, God damn it, I didn't want to be alive that long. I don't want to be fucking.
Now you have a reason to live.
Yeah.
Damn it.
Dude, I'm so excited. And like, I was saying on Twitter, I was like, I haven't been excited about this excited about anything in my life, and I've had sex before. Like, even the first time I knew I was gonna have sex, I was never just like I'm just I'm like people are like aren't you like worried you're gonna ruin the movie for yourself? And it's like maybe 1% of me is like, oh, maybe this could backfire on me, but it's like I was just excited when the first Avengers came out. I was just excited when like Django Unchained came out. It's like,
yeah, that was great.
It just looks like everything I've seen from it is like, how can he fail at this?
Yeah.
It's like there's been movies where it just looks perfect, and then like I don't know people. I've read I know some critics of like this website Badass Digest. This guy Devin Faraci. He's read the script and he's like a huge Marvel fanboy just like me, so he said the script is amazing. And it's fucking Joss Whedon, so if
the script's amazing.
If the one of the biggest Marvel fanboys in the world saying the script is great, Joss Whedon's doing the fucking movie. Everything I've seen, it's like it just can't be bad. Like I won't even if it's bad, I'm not gonna say it's bad.
You're not gonna admit it.
I've been saying like this Avengers.
It's gonna fester in your soul.
Avengers 2 is the best movie ever made, and it hasn't even come out yet. Like that's how I feel.
Awesome. That's awesome.
I'm so excited for it, man.
What excites you the most? You think?
Oh, that's a great question. What excites me the most?
Yeah, is it a character? Is it a storyline?
I want to. I think what excites me the most is I've been heard that this is the most like the fight scenes in this are the most comic booky.
All right.
Like, and it's like I enjoy that in terms of like just I feel like not in just DC movies, but a lot of the comic book movies don't. Like the X-Men movies, they wouldn't want to wear the yellow spandex. Like, oh, what do you expect us to wear yellow spandex? It's like, embrace it. Embrace the silliness. Embrace the silliness of
silliness is part
of comics. It's like that's what it is. Like, it doesn't have to be super serious. It's like it's like when these gritty, realistic takes. It's like it's unrealistic and it's by nature. It's a superhero.
Yeah.
Like, we don't have to believe that. Like
well, I think there's an inherent
the real way.
Yeah, I think there's an inherent silliness in life that you can't really capture in a comic unless you make them look silly. You know what I mean? Because life is silly, and people try to think it's not, and then you see it in a comic, and you're like, oh, I get it.
A lot of the best action movies have a like Die Hard has a lot of humor in it. It's like it's not. It doesn't
Yippee-ki-yay, motherfucker.
It's like because that's how you would want to. That's how you want to imagine you would handle a situation. Like, you're not gonna be just like stern all the time. It's like
you're gonna come and say the funny thing, yeah.
And like another thing I'm really excited about is Joss Whedon was saying on the first movie he felt like he didn't give a lot of characters their full due because he had it's such a balancing act because like you can't make Hawkeye the star of Avengers because people are already invested in Iron Man and Captain America and Hulk and so like he's gonna flesh out Hawkeye more. He's gonna flesh out Black Widow more. And like,
awesome.
And like Vision showing up in this. There's so many new characters. Like there might be a Captain Marvel cameo at the end. I've heard.
Wow.
And then like, I mean Hulkbuster. Like Hulk versus Hulkbuster. Like I've been waiting. Everyone's been waiting for this for years. This is amazing. Oh, so dude, like how can this be a bad movie? Like did you see the new trailer?
Yeah, I went home and watched it.
Four
Yeah.
times straight. It came out. I was in class when it came out, and I felt like it was maybe a half an hour later I got out of class, but I felt like I had missed everything. Just like being like, oh, everyone's seen it 10 times. But I went to computer lab at my school, watched it 4 times, and I was like, this is the best trailer of all time. I love it.
Yeah. I felt that exact way when I watched the new Star Wars teaser because I'm a big Star Wars original fan from back in the day. Like I saw all except for the first one, I saw Empire Strikes Back and Return of the Jedi originally in the theater like in the 70s and 80s. I barely remember Empire Strikes Back. I remember the at walkers really, those scenes, and at the end. But I clearly remember Return of the Jedi in the theater. So it's just, and then the other ones came out, and I didn't want to say anything, but I was like just disappointed. So then I heard Disney. Oh, go ahead. I mean,
no. I was just thinking it's the same thing with like if I said how I would feel if Avengers 2 came out. I just like you telling yourself this is good, but it wasn't. Good.
Yeah. I was fooling myself. I don't think the first one was really not that good. The second and third one, I think they did a good job with what the first one was. Yeah, like the first one was kind of a piece of shit.
It was so bad that it could only be as good as those two.
Exactly. Yeah. Those two were the best for what they could be for having that as a base, but. It seems with Disney, just watching that couple seconds, it feels like it's a real nod to the true fans. Like, we're fucking bringing it back. Like, they showed the X-Wing fighters over the lake, and I was like, I watched it 100 times. And then the noise when you hear the TIE fighter at the end or whatever, and you're like,
I heard Kevin Smith said that he went on set and saw that J.J. Abrams is actually using a lot of like real props, movie props that
it's a ton of
like from like the
effects.
80s, like how they used to use them. Not a lot of CGI. I'm looking forward to that because I feel like that's awesome.
That's one of the things I'm most excited about is like practical effects and like the desert looks great and that trailer was like 112 long.
It's
but it's like even just like you can see like this is the real desert and it looks great because it's like that was a lot of the problems with the prequels was that it was just so much the CGI was overloaded. Like somebody did you gotta look it up. It's like somebody did took the Star Wars teaser, the new one, and they like George Lucas special edition and just like it just highlighted so many things that was bad. But like they had like extra animals in the background that didn't need to be there and like that was what's so good about this teaser is it blended so much of what you're familiar with like slight subtle changes to like the stormtrooper helmets look newer and like
stuff you can accept within your realm. Yeah, like this is 30, 40 years later. This is what's gonna happen.
Yeah, the ball droid that looks cool.
Yeah.
It like it's a new thing, but it's not like a deviation from what you accept. Like it's a droid. It's just a newer version of it. It's the stormtrooper helmets, but it's just
like the iPhone 6. It's not the 4. Yeah.
And it's amazing what it's only because it's Star Wars that they could do this, but like it's amazing what they accomplished in a minute and 12 seconds.
Yeah,
like
it really
in terms of like people love and everyone's like a lot of people, especially Star Wars fans, were like, this is gonna suck. The prequel sucked. I don't know. Like I was very like whatever,
I was too.
Star Wars 7, I don't care. And then like I was like J.J. Abrams, he's because it's weird to have him do Star Trek and Star Wars, but like I saw that trailer, like I'm totally on board for this. I'm so excited.
I was so excited.
It's like wow,
when those I swear when those X-wing fighters are going over the lake, I was like, it's like one of the high points of my life, top 10 moments of my life. I was like,
like when that when the Millennium Falcon comes shooting, he's like,
Oh my god! I can you imagine being in a theater and they showed that teaser in front of a bunch of people? The energy in that
Yeah.
room, people would go nuts.
Yeah.
I can't wait to see. When are they gonna release the first trailer? Do you know?
I
Or
feel
the
like
official?
they haven't said, but I feel like they're probably gonna. It would be smart at least to release it attached to Avengers
Yeah.
because they're both Disney properties.
Yeah,
and,
that's a great. And people, yeah.
and that's gonna be the
They
most people
probably will
in
do
theaters.
that.
Is like that would be
Yeah.
amazing. But
That'd be cool.
Can you imagine seeing that trailer in front of a theater full of those people?
Oh
Like,
my
oh my god, the
God.
energy like the fucking Millennium
that's, and
Falcon.
that's what, I know I'm going a little long, but
No, it's fine.
that's what I don't like so much about like. I appreciate the accessibility of movies now. Like you can watch them all at home, but like people don't realize, or people have forgotten how great it is to watch a movie in a theater. And like people are, even if it's a bad movie, like people are just
because
if
you're
you
all
don't like it,
making
we all
fun
don't
of
like
it
it. We're all
together.
shitting on it. Like
Yeah.
I went to see the new Evil Dead. It's like 8 of us in the theater, and I didn't like it. And anyone else, and we were just like shitting on it. Like it was so fun.
Yeah.
And I went to see like. I remember I went to see Django Unchained and like
Oh my god.
just all those great moments. People are laughing, like people are just cheering. It's so fun to like to experience that. You don't get to experience that at home. It's like you just, it's like,
especially
like,
a packed
and then you
theater.
look around. It's like it's just me in the dark, just like by myself. Like
Yeah.
oh man.
I think I saw the last movie I saw inside a packed theater, packed crowd was The Great Gatsby, and I was actually had to sit in the front seat, the first seat, which you would never even imagine doing that.
That sucks.
It sucked, but let me tell you, it was. I think it was a really good movie. The way everything visual was great, and the soundtrack was great because they mixed old with new in a way that was like maybe
Yeah.
And it was just the energy was amazing inside that theater, man.
Yeah, I was the same
And
thing.
they're dancing and stuff.
I was sitting in like the second row when I had to see when I saw Django Unchained for the first time. I saw it like 3 times at theater.
Yeah.
But and like it's like I'm craning my neck
Yeah.
and it's uncomfortable, but it was so good
didn't
and
matter.
the experience was so good that it didn't matter that I'm sitting.
Yeah.
I saw Watchmen in the first row, and I like Watchmen, but it wasn't as good because like it wasn't as good as a movie, and it's also so I'm in the front row, and this isn't the best movie, so I'm like, my neck hurts, I don't want to sit here anymore. But yeah,
You know a cool theater experience? Have either of you guys ever heard of the movie The Room?
yeah.
Have you ever seen it in theaters?
No, but they do like screenings
really
of it.
familiar.
They
Like,
do them screenings in Hartford and New Haven. Go.
Yeah.
Because I've
think
gone
Dan Rice was
twice.
telling me that recently.
I've gone twice, and like they give you like complimentary spoons because like every time there's like really horrible spoon artwork on the set, so every time you see a spoon, everybody in the audience goes spoon, and everybody throws spoons at the screen.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, and then like you can like they give you permission to do everything, so people are just swearing as loud as they can. And
That sounds like real fun.
there's actually like there's like honestly directions because each time like a new scene pops up, there's like something that like you're supposed to do.
Yeah.
And like the first time I went and saw it, I was like my friend was showing me this, and I was like, nobody's gonna do this. Everybody in the theater was doing it.
That sounds like, yeah.
Everybody already was in on the joke.
I love when people buy into something like that.
Yeah.
Like it just makes the experience way more fun.
Yeah. Have you heard of The Room?
No, it sounds really familiar, but
It's like generally considered to be one of the worst
It's
movies.
like the worst. It's if you like watching really bad movies
yeah.
with friends, like
Yeah.
go see it. It's
okay,
so
like
good.
Sharknado kind of.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, The Room.
Nice.
Oh,
It sounds familiar.
Yeah, I'm so excited for Avengers, man.
Yeah, oh yeah, and I am also in for Star Wars.
Like
This
I'm
is gonna
always
be a
it's
great
like
year.
I keep trying to like temper my expectations. It's like because like I'm too like I remember this has been the longest wait between Marvel movies yet. Like it's been like I think it's a 9-month wait. And it's like I was thinking about that like this is agony for me because I'm so
yeah.
invested in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. It's like it sucks so bad. And then like they released the first Avengers trailer in like October. I was like, this movie is 6 months away. Like, why
Yeah.
would you do this to me?
Yeah, that's crazy.
I hate watching trailers like right when they come out because it's the longest wait for everything.
And it's like there's this dude, Film Crit Hulk. He also works at Badass Digest, and he's like my favorite film critic, and he's so smart, and he has this I don't want to say a policy, but he doesn't watch trailers because he said I just want to experience these moments in a theater, and I'm always like,
that's so awesome.
Yeah.
and like when I first, oh no,
Oh, it's alright. We're just
okay,
It's still going.
I thought we were done. I think we got shut down by the
No,
government
we're still
because we're in
the government shut us down.
we're in this undisclosed location. We're the last people broadcast.
Talking about Marvel and
Yeah.
Star Wars.
Compound.
Dun, dun, dun.
Um,
That's not even a real door. It's just a.
it's just a
drone.
set.
It's a bunker.
Yeah, he doesn't watch trailers, and he's like, because I want to experience the movie in a movie, and it's like,
That's interesting.
and I always say I'm gonna take up that kind of habit of not watching trailers. And as soon as a trailer comes out for a big, I'm gonna watch this. Trailer. I can't. I'm sorry, Philip Hulk. I gotta do this.
Yeah, I think if it's a movie that's either scary or suspenseful or has some kind of twist, I don't want to watch the trailers because I have this crazy obsessive memory where even if I watch a trailer or if somebody spills out a fact about something that I haven't seen, and it's a dumb, stupid fact, it'll stay in my head for
with me,
5 years, and I'll go watch something, and I'm like, yep, I know that's what happens. Like, people will give away an ending of a movie that I never seen. It was a big movie, then later I'll go see it, you know?
I remember Cabin in the Woods came out, and I was tweeting about how I wanted to see it. It's gonna be, and then somebody tweeted me. It's like some robot account, like it was just tweeting out spoilers to whoever mentioned it on Twitter. And I didn't see all of the spoilers, but I saw one line of it, and I just couldn't forget it.
Yeah, you can't get it out of your brain. It's just there forever.
And when it's a really good trailer, I'm so obsessive how I watch it a bunch of times. So I'm definitely gonna. It's not like I saw it once and I'm gonna forget. I'm gonna see these. I'm gonna remember these moments.
Yeah.
And like the way they do trailers now, it's so many spoilers in trailers.
Yeah.
Like there's been trailers that have just not even just spoiled moments, but entire endings and plot points of movies have been spoiled in trailers now. Because
that's why I like The Matrix so much, because that fucking plot twist, man. I think it broke my brain, like, trying to, like, wait, what, watching, like, and then you're like, all right, I'm done, like,
and like this is like this,
it's a whole nother world.
They say like scientifically or psychologically, you actually enjoy things more when it's been spoiled for you because you're, you know it's coming, so you kind of there's excitement, but like I still think everyone should get to enjoy something for the first time.
Yeah, you really should.
Like. I remember the first Avengers trailer, not the first one, but one of the Avengers trailers spoiled the part where Hulk catches Iron Man off the side of the building. It's like, this is and I actually kind of forgot about it, and you kind of know it's coming in the movie.
Yeah.
I mean, you hope it's coming, but it's like, why would you do that? Like, I mean, that was such an exciting moment in the movie. And it's like, you put this in the trailer, you idiots. Like, there's so many other moments you could put in the trailer.
That's what I like about and appreciate about Walking Dead, because they're so. Do you watch Walking Dead?
I haven't watched it in a long time.
It actually got better. There was a part.
Yeah, I've heard.
There's a part where, man, I almost stopped watching it, and there was like 1 or 2 episodes of the season that were really good, and I was like, okay, I'll stick with it. And that was Scott Gimple wrote those, and now he is the head writer.
Yeah, I've heard.
So that's why it's like fucking back, man. It is insane, and they really, like, even when they're on Talking Dead afterwards or Chris Hardwick, they won't give away anything at all. They're so strict, like, the characters.
That's great.
And they don't even know, like, I forgot who it was, but somebody asked one of the producers, and they're like, do you think we can renew our lease? And he's like, yeah, they'll be fine. Then the next month they killed them off. Like, they don't at all.
Yeah, it's so with spoilers and stuff, people are so like a movie like Avengers, you don't have to. People are already invested in this. Like people, the people who are going to see Avengers don't need to see these moments spoiled because like I'm going to see Avengers like.
Yeah, you don't need a trailer, really.
Yeah, you can just do a teaser. Like, hey, I was talking to this other comic, Derek Russell Toombs, and I was saying for Avengers, if they could have just released Avengers like Beyonce's album, and it would still make the same amount of money.
Yeah.
Like, or even just like even if like I said, we had to come up with a whole plan for like Joss Whedon would go on like Letterman or something one night, and he would just say like this is like way back in like October. He'd just be like November 4th, and they'd be like, wait, what is he talking about? And then you start seeing like posters pop up all over like November 4th. It's like, oh, is this? And people start buying things like, oh, is this the Avengers? Like it would have worked perfectly because like you don't need to put out a trailer because people are hyped for this. And then once word of mouth gets going, people who didn't see a trailer, they're going like, you got to go see Avengers. Yeah. It works perfectly.
Yeah, they kind of did that with like the Ant-Man trailer where it was like just Ant-Man.
Yeah.
And, like they didn't, but then people were like mad, like, oh, we want to see more, you know?
Well, that's the problem with Ant-Man is that most people don't even know about, like Ant-Man sounds like a really corny character. I mean, like you have to sell people on Ant-Man. It's like people have already seen Avengers, like it wouldn't work with Avengers 1 except for the people who are like comic readers who want to see it. But like Avengers 2,
or maybe some Iron Man because there's a lot of people that got behind Iron Man.
Yeah.
But with Avengers 2, that movie made $1 billion at the box office. Like people know what to expect from this. They expect this quality, so you can do that. But Ant-Man or like the new Fantastic Four trailer from that Fox put out, like this didn't do it for me because like the people that don't know about Fantastic Four, this doesn't sell me on this. Like, this doesn't sell me on. You have to sell me on the character. That's the problem with the Ant-Man character trailer. You didn't sell me on the character of Scott Lang. You know what I mean? You just like, there's a couple scenes. Like, there was no it wasn't interesting. Like, you don't have to sell. The reason the Star Wars teaser worked is because we all know, everyone knows what Star Wars is. Everyone knows everything about it.
You just show them a little bit of what they want, and that's it. You're sprinkling blood into the cage instead of the piece of meat, and it drives them crazy.
Yeah, exactly. Like, you don't need to sell me on the Millennium Falcon because I already know what the Millennium Falcon is. Ant-Man, I don't know who the fuck. I do, but like, people don't know who the fuck Ant-Man is. It sounds like a lame Ant-Man. Like, what? You got to sell people on it.
Yeah, totally. I don't know. They'll get it right one of these days.
Yeah.
But it's so funny you see him spend all this money, and you're like, I think people know about it. You know what I mean? Like, it's kind of like overkill.
Yeah, like the budgets for these blockbuster movies are like $100 million marketing budget, and it's like for some of them it makes sense. Like, when it's an original property that no one's heard of. Yeah, it's like, you have to do this. You have to, because you've invested.
But like you said, for Avengers, they could do the same thing for Star Wars. They could just show that teaser. That's all, and then they could say, "Come see it in December," and everybody would fucking line up down the street.
Say, oh yeah, Avengers coming out next week. So if you guys want to see it, I don't know. Maybe the first one was pretty popular, so I don't know if you guys want to see it.
Oh man.
But hey, I guess Hollywood's smarter than me.
Yeah, well, they have that formula. And I think a lot of it's about keeping people at jobs, too. You know what I mean? Like, they got to do it because they need a job, and there's probably unions and shit that say you have to.
That's true.
What were we going to say?
No, I was just going to say, did you guys hear about the Avengers spoiler for the new movie?
Oh, no.
I mean, you probably heard, right?
Do not.
All right, I won't say it.
Do not.
I wouldn't if I were you. If you're, like, being serious right now.
It's nothing, like, it has nothing to do with the plot.
Oh, wait, good.
It's about the Hulk.
Oh yeah, I know about that. But don't say it. Don't say it though.
All right, we won't say it.
Okay.
But like, what do you think about like hearing a spoiler like that? Like, does that matter to you?
No.
How can you verify it?
I mean, I guess you can't. But when it's being that widespread, you feel like it's true, and because it shapes your view of the movie now. Because it's like, because it's nothing. Which is a perceived spoiler is as bad as an actual spoiler. Like, if you think like, oh shit, now it's been spoiled for me, like, you kind of deflate it a little bit. So even if it's not true, you're gonna go into the movie like, I already know what happens to Hulk, so whatever. I don't care. I'm so anti, and I've read a bunch of pieces on movies where like a writer like minor spoiler follows, and it's like, if I know enough about like Avengers, I know enough about what's supposed to happen in this movie where if it says minor spoiler, I don't care. You know what I mean? 'Cause I know enough about
you know who's gonna win
the comics, and also like the guy who read the script is like he's sprinkled in stuff like it's like I know the basic of what's gonna happen because there's gonna be a Captain America 3. There's gonna be a so I know these characters, most of these characters are gonna live at least or in some way. So it's like, but when like if Interstellar, for example, this is an original property. I don't want those spoilers. Like, there's a huge have you seen Interstellar?
Yes.
Like, you know what I'm talking about when that person pops up in that movie. It's like that hadn't been spoiled at all.
Oh yeah,
like,
that was
a big
amazing.
Surprise.
Yeah.
I didn't see it.
How did that not get leaked?
The way the media covers movies and like everyone knows everything about every movie. Like like studios can't even hide cameos anymore because like people are on set with camera phones taking pictures. Like the fact that you gotta see it.
All right, don't say nothing. I'll watch it.
Wow, how did this?
Is it like when Steven Seagal popped up in what was it, Executive Decision? That Kurt Russell nailed it. I was like, what the fuck?
It's just like
Steven Seagal.
Like, how did they keep this under wraps?
Yeah.
And it's like you just wish. I just wish people wouldn't. Like, people get joy out of spoiling something for someone. Like, don't do, like, just let people enjoy the movie.
Douchebags. Oh shit! Well, we're definitely overtime, so we should probably wrap this puppy up. Had fucking great time though, dude.
Yeah, it was so fun.
Yeah.
Holy shit! But so tell them one more time the name of your podcast.
Good for Nothing. It's on Comedy LOL.
Yes.
Find it there. Yeah, it's fun.
And how can they find you on Twitter?
At Highbrow Shawn on Twitter. And at Lowbrow Shawn on Instagram.
Ooh. You got any shows or anything coming up?
No, I suck real bad, so I don't got nothing coming up.
All right, you can always see him at the open mic at Joker's Wild if you want to come
Yeah.
get an autograph. That'd be awesome. Anything you need to talk about?
Let's see. I got hosting Jokers April 3rd and 4th.
Oh shit!
Sam Morrell. Excited about that.
Awesome.
Actually,
Yeah.
you know what? I do have a show on the last Thursday in March. I can't think of the date off the top of my head, but the last Thursday in March.
26th, I think.
Yeah, in New London, I'm hosting. I host a show with Dame FK and I think Kevin Fitzgerald's doing it this month, and
Nice.
I think I'm gonna get Pat Oates to do it and a couple other comics. It should be fun.
Awesome. I got a couple on March 15th. My gas bill is due. I'm just looking at my calendar.
So if you guys want to donate to that?
So if you guys want to go, you could donate comedylol.com. You could donate. But I just got on a show tonight. It's going to be the 24th of March in Stamford, and I'll have more details about that. And then we're doing a variety show with Brian Barganier. I'm going to DJ that one again on the 26th at in New York Comedy Club, I think it was. No, what was the name of it? I don't know. I'll have it up if you want to know. Anyone, just email me. Brandon@comedylol.com.
Awesome.
Anything else?
Go see Avengers.
Yeah.
Age of Ultron, but don't pre-order tickets. I want to get the pre-orders in, so don't take my spot.
You
in the
can't
theater.
even pre-order. You got to go there. It's the only way to get tickets.
Yeah, so go see that movie because I wanted to make a lot of money because I'm a big fan. Support indie movies too. Come on, guys. What are you doing?
Yeah, really. And support podcasts, you bastards.
Support
All right.
your local drug dealer.
Exactly. All right, guys. See you later.
All right.
Okay.